Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mama's Legacy podcast. I'm joined here with the Late Night Lake Show, Ricky. What's up, man? How you doing?
Thanks for having me on, Max. How am I doing? It's pretty obvious how I'm doing. Probably similar to how you're doing right now, buddy. We uh we gotta talk. We got appreciate you having me on the show. But we gotta talk about the end of the season for our purple and gold. So I'm doing just as bout as well as everybody else that's listening to this right now.
Definitely. It's been a rough 24 hours for all Lakers fans. We got excited when we heard AD might be coming back. I personally didn't want to play him because I knew he was going to get hurt again. But, the Lakers season has officially come to an end 1 year after winning the championship. We become first round exits. Now, you can point to a bunch of different things for that being the reason, for reasons why we got booed in the first round. But I mean, before we jump into all the excuses that we Lakers fan have and the reasons why, just real quick, what are your honest thoughts about this season we just had?
Honestly, it sucked. I mean, I am somebody that likes to be the leader of Lakers positivity and why, at the end of the day, the purple and gold are going to come out on top. But it definitely, once LeBron MVP run ended with that high ankle sprain, I think the season kind of went in a negative turn and never turned back. So I thought that with Anthony Davis possibly needing to carry the team for stretches during the season, we would see an MVP caliber stretch out of him. AD ends up getting banged up himself. So that never turned into reality. I remember at the beginning of the year, the talk was it's time for AD to be the MVP of the league and him being the number one option on the Lakers and really taking the keys from LeBron and being the head of the horse. That's not how it turned out to be. It was pretty much the opposite. The Lakers live and die with the health of LeBron James and with a 70% LeBron James and a 0% Anthony Davis out there, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to survive what turned out to be a season that the Lakers couldn't get any string of chemistry, of camaraderie, of any type of juice to build up to the playoffs. It never happened. They thought they could just turn on the on switch and the oven would be nice and preheated. You ran into a team that had been gelling most of the season, and especially when it mattered most in the second half of the year in the Phoenix Suns. So shout out to them. I think Devin Booker's he's here, and I'm happy he's getting the stage. And it was probably right that he got the stage against the Lakers. So it is the biggest stage in the playoffs. Undoubtedly, whoever's playing the Lakers is going to get the most ratings, and he showed up and did his thing. So shout out to D Book. But this season, Max, I mean, I look back on it and I see a lot of non-achieved goals that I think we all had set out for our purple and gold.
Well, unfortunately, in my opinion, the season was over before it began for us. I mean, you start off, let's just admit it, we had the shortest off season, and then we made some very questionable moves. I really thought trading JaVale to get Marc Gasol to be able to fit on the team, I thought that was a terrible move. I do like Marc Gasol's game, but JaVale is one of those guys you need in the locker room, one of those guys who's hungry to win, and he just wants to keep going back to back to back for the championships. Also, when we didn't offer Dwight Howard a contract, that really pissed me off. I remember I was pissed at him because he tweeted out he was coming back and then he left, but turns out that we never actually offered him a contract extension. So that really made me upset. I wasn't too upset with letting Danny go, but when your replacement's Wesley Matthews, who's uh, he's he's a shell of himself. He can't really go out there. He can't start when need be, and just a lot of the roster changes were very questionable. I was kind of a fan of Montrez. He's a big energizer bunny coming off that bench, but defensively, he's a liability. And I mean, even Schroeder, I was high on him at the beginning, but at the end of the season, I think we all really saw he had no motivation to really go win the championship. He was he was doing a half baked job come playoff time, and it really showed for this Lakers team. The bench, none when LeBron or AD were not in And when AD was in and LeBron wasn't, even then, the team looked dead in the water. Nobody looked like they knew what they were doing. And even with this past playoff series, LeBron was the only guy really out there going and get you 20. I'm not sure how many other games somebody else on the team dropped you 20 that wasn't 80 or LeBron this postseason. So to be perfectly honest, this Lakers season, it was over before it began. But as a Laker fan, I still hope that maybe we could turn this around come playoff time. But unfortunately, we weren't just able to.
Yeah, the the Dwight Howard situation, that was a fun, weird one, right? And I guess it was just a little preview of all the weird stuff that would happen throughout the year for the Lakers. I mean, you come to the team, you forget how to shoot threes. I guess that's just the way. I expect Wes Matthews, if he's not back this next season, to get back to his average shooting percentage from behind the arc. KCP, Dennis. I mean, I'm gonna let you lead on the topics, man. But waking up, drinking this coffee, my mind is definitely on how we can get a sign and trade of Dennis and probably Kuz and shoot, I don't know. I mean, Caruso's we have his bird rights, but you can't do two signing trades in the same package. My mind's starting to shift towards who do I not want to see back next season. And it was just so disappointing that the guys that you thought were going to be the core, you couldn't rely on. I mean, I love me some KCP. He was the sign of the guards changing. But that shooting percentage in the first round was nasty. And again, he was hurt too. He wasn't 100% healthy, but at the end of the day, when you have 71 days off between seasons and you have players that are either older or habitually banged up, and you have players that are getting their championship rings and inside of a playing environment that's not the exact equal to how it would be when you get to a non-pandemic basketball playoff series like we had this year. So it was just hard for me to kind of put it all in the focus when I'm just looking at all the facts and what the Lakers faced and who really didn't step up. And then you combine that with, the Lakers just weren't healthy when they needed to be. And honestly, Max, I think that might be the most important thing when telling this story of the Lakers season. They were just hurt, man. Their best two players were hurt at some point in time for about 90% of the season. Not regular hurt, like hurt.
Yeah, no, definitely. The stars of this team were hit probably the hardest of any other team. But even then, I felt like now I am a big Lakers fan, obviously. I'm a big LeBron fan, but I saw LeBron quit on this team in game five, and it really hurt me. I'm not sure if you thought he was quitting or not, but if you leave to go to the locker room with 5 minutes left in the game, you're not staying out there for your team. You're kind of quitting on your team. And I mean, am I right there, Ricky?
Yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, Mac, they didn't make too much of a difference for me. I've seen the Lakers get blown out in playoff games before that were and were not elimination games, right? I've seen Kobe and Shaq sit on the bench, tears with Kobe's eyes that they couldn't complete the four-peat, getting bounced in the second round. I've also seen Lakers players, completely lose it, and Andrew Bynum clotheslines JJ Barrera and they get ejected, or Lamar Odom gets ejected, and now they are in the locker room. It's hard for me to kind of get mad at LeBron in that situation, especially because I saw earlier in the game that he had that look in his eyes that he was ready to dominate. And then once he saw that ball, get clanked off the rim over and over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, that's demoralizing. And when you see that you're not 100% and this team is not knocking down shots and Houston's got a good game plan, I'm sure that shit sucks. So when we got down to 5 minutes left in the game, if LeBron wants to dip a little bit early to go get treatment on his ankle in preparation for game 6, I didn't really have too much of an issue with it. I do understand though how the optics of it, just like Isaiah Thomas not shaking Michael Jordan's hand when the Bulls finally knocked the Pistons out of the playoffs back in the day. Those things at the highest form of competition where you just dip or you don't acknowledge that you lost, or you don't stick with your team as the ship goes down, it doesn't look great. But me personally, I didn't have too much of an issue with it. I more so um, was a little bit disappointed in LeBron's still passing first mentality for game 6. Like, I'm sorry, no one else would have had the ball for me. Like,
Mm.
every shot would have been a Anthony Davis decoy off of him, or it just would have been somebody set a screen for LeBron. And honestly, I didn't even care if LeBron bricked it 30 times last night. It was just one of those games when you come from the church of Kobe, it's like you empty the clip, you like LeBron said, you throw the gun. But I think even Kobe, he would, start biting you and, start fucking trying to kill you if it didn't work out. And I didn't see that out of LeBron. So obviously it didn't look too great.
Yeah, no, even with last night, I mean, LeBron did turn it up coming towards the end, but that first quarter was what killed us. We got outscored, I believe it was 35-21. We were down 20 at halftime. It was a disaster from the get-go, especially with AD getting on the court, playing 5 minutes, and then going down with another injury. That was really hard to watch. But I will ask you this then. How worried are you about AD being injury prone? Because I think we can all admit that he's basically the same guy from Glass. So, are you concerned at all about AD being healthy for these next coming seasons that we have him under contract for?
I'm the same level of concerned as I was when the Lakers were rumored to get Anthony Davis, same level of concerned as when the Lakers finally acquired Anthony Davis for the pieces that they gave up. I would do that deal 10 times out of 10 all over again. But my concern never leaves with Anthony Davis as far as health. This isn't new. It's not like Anthony Davis is 34 and he just went through another injury season. Like, AD's had bangs and bruises his entire career, and he's sit out one game here, a stretch with the Pelicans. That's all, folks. But to be completely honest, like, the Anthony Davis isn't going to be the one on a championship team. I am more concerned about what is that next piece that's going to come in to bridge the gap between, older LeBron and, Anthony, generational talent Anthony Davis, but understanding that generational talent Anthony Davis is not, you cannot guarantee an Ironman season out of him. So you better damn well make sure that you have another gun in the chamber, right? Another gun in the artillery closet, and that is ready to hoop. So AD is going to be AD. I think this groin injury was serious. I think it sucks how he went back to try to play. Like you said in the beginning of the show, I don't think AD should have played. I knew he was, that was going to be a limited amount of time. But I'm praying that didn't like really mess him up for, that will linger on for years to come. But my concern level is exactly the same as the day we got him, which is about a medium. And I don't think it'll ever go down. What about you, man?
Mine is really high right now due to the fact that he only played 36 games this season. That's a career low for somebody who's very injury prone, which is a big eye opener when you look at it, especially when he's on it. He's on the best team he's had, considering the amount of load he has to carry now. I know LeBron went down, but AD went down before him. So he still had time. He could have upped his stats, but no, he 36 games this entire season. It really looked like he could not stay healthy when he was on the court. There were games where he did play in those 36 games where he shouldn't have been on the court because you could tell, ooh, he might go down again soon. Because the man, ooh, I love him to death, but he is, like I said, made of glass. So I am I'm on high alert with him coming up for this next season. And speaking of like what you said, they need a bridge star between the two. What's your ideal future for this Lakers team coming into this offseason?
Well, I mean, LeBron James is going to be making, I think $41 million next year. I think Anthony Davis is making $36 million next year. Long story short, man, like everything that I come up with for an ideal season is going to be me kind of like wishing it to be, to come true as far as Lakers roster transactions. What I want to see, and let's just take all of the analytics, salary cap, let's be super smart GMs about this. Let's take those coats off. If Bradley Beal tells the Wizards, I would like to be a Los Angeles Laker, that deal will find a way to get done. I think that Bradley Beal has gotten the respect of that organization enough where he can call his next landing place. Hell, if Dennis Schroeder can call his next landing place in Oklahoma City, I think we could get, Bradley Beal to move to greener pastures and want to now be that bridge player. So my answer is definitely, definitely Brad. I don't think there is a scenario where the Lakers would end up with a Damian Lillard in our lifetime via trade. As much as we are all going to salivate, hey, run from the grind. You are amazing. You are Kobe reincarnated in a 6'3" point guard. It's going to be a cold day in hell before the Timberwolves do a deal with the Lakers. Even if Dame said, I would like to go with the Lakers. It's almost a San Antonio type of situation where anybody but LA. Okay, so those are the top two names. I'm sure Lakers fans are going to be clamoring over the entire offseason. Honestly, man, like what's the goal? Let's talk about it real quick, Max. Is the goal to win a championship next year, or is the goal to now like have that core set for the post LeBron era? Because I think he'll have 2 more years left on his deal. With an ascension, 2 or 3 more seasons left on his Lakers deal. I think it's smart to start thinking about, all right, if LeBron's going to take a step back from being 1A, somebody else needs to split that role with Anthony Davis. Where do you see it going, bro? Like, those are my top 2 names. I only see one of them being realistic. Where are you sitting?
Well, when you give LeBron an extension of I think it was like about 43, he was a 2-year, $85 million deal. When you give LeBron that kind of an extension, you're trying to win now. So
Yep.
you definitely want to try and see if you can run it back. I mean, especially now you got time to go over it. You get to sit at home, watch people. But I'm not sure if we go for somebody like Bradley. Now, I do love Bradley Beal, and he would be an instant upgrade over everybody, and we'd probably go back to the finals. But then I guarantee you we have no bench because we barely have enough cap the way it is right now for Schroeder. But I really hope we can get some hungry guys to come in. Some guys, maybe ring chasing. I heard Chris Paul's going to decline his player option. That might be interesting. If we can get him on a 1 or 2 year to match LeBron's salary, I think that might be interesting.
I like the way you think there, Max. Okay, so you're obviously saying that with LeBron on the roster, you have to be win now. That means, right, as far as options, you're opening up a Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry type of transaction for the team if you can make the money work. That's selling your soul to the rest of this era right now. And I think I'm probably fine with it because I don't know what the post LeBron solo Anthony Davis era is going to look like. So, if we're right there with it, I think we're on the same page. Where are you landing with the Chris Paul or Kyle Lowry?
I agree with that because let's be honest, we don't know when we're going to have another duo like we have right now. These two guys are out of this world, and we need to make the most of it. But I think Chris Paul would be a better fit than Lowry because, he already likes LeBron. I mean, I know they go at each other and they look like they were both trying to kill each other this past series. But Chris Paul, you see what he does with the Suns. He made them a non-playoff team to the 2nd seed. Imagine what he could do to a playoff team. Ooh, that's scary to think about, especially with his high IQ, LeBron's high IQ. I think it would work amazing because, I mean, we did it with Rondo last year, and Chris Paul's a better version of Rondo. So I'm interested in that one. There's a bunch of other guys I'd love to see maybe come in. some ring
But
chasing
Max, we
vets.
back to the injuries. We back to we are just then going back to, yes, I love Chris Paul too, and I probably, it's what, less than 24 hours after the Lakers got eliminated from the playoffs by the Phoenix Suns and Chris Paul, and as much as he pissed me off the entire series, what was he dealing with? An
Uh,
injury. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, can you imagine if the Lakers give Chris Paul somehow a multi-year extension? We get to the playoffs next year and Chris Paul gets hurt. And then what are we supposed to do? It's literally the same thing, the same story that we're going to have this time next year where, well, man, I mean, the Lakers, the injuries, well, look at the roster. There are injury-riddled players all up and down it. So that Chris Paul thing, we're just going to have to probably marinate on for a couple of weeks, see what he does in the second round, see how that shoulder goes. And then let's talk about how many millions of dollars we're willing to give him to save this era. Not save the era. We already got one ring in 3 years of LeBron's time. I just, yeah. I mean, to a lesser extent, Kyle Lowry too, right?
Yes, kind of. I do like Kyle, but I just think Chris Paul brings more. But the thing is, with the injuries, no matter who comes in here, it's LA. Somebody's going to get injured. But my thing with Bradley Beal is I feel like he's just an empty scorer. His playmaking is not the best in my opinion. He can get his own shot easily, but his defense is also a little bit of a liability. So I'm not that high on him. I've kind of flirted with this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I might get a lot of shit for this.
Okay.
But I'm thinking Russell.
Russell's Brussels? That's not a horrible idea, man. I've seen it before. I've seen it up there. It's a little bit out there. But it's not off the wall.
I think Russell would be an amazing guy. Yes, he deals with injuries, but even when he's injured, he's on that court putting 100% in, and that's what we need. We don't need players like Schroeder, who, when we're down 7 with a minute to go, is half-assing a fast break layup that he breaks. So Russell Westbrook would be out there giving 100% every night. I think that would be an amazing fit. He'd really get the other guys going. He'd motivate the entire team, no matter who you are on that roster. I mean, he'd probably have Jared Dudley out there doing full court sprints. So I think that would probably be my ideal player to come in. Now, I heavily doubt it due to money and all that, but if he becomes a free agent later down the line, I would not mind seeing him in an LA
Tell
uniform.
him to come home. Tell him to come home, bro. Like another name that I heard was DeMar DeRozan as the LA angle. During the trade deadline, his name had popped up, but I think Zorza had told me that came from the Spurs side and not so much the Lakers side in that conversation for DeMar to LA. But I mean, shoot, I also am not completely opposed to a Russell Westbrook coming home and seeing what he can do. Now, would it be a gun range with Russ and LeBron in that backcourt, especially if AD is still insisted on playing the 4 with another big? That is a offensive court the size of a shoebox. Like we talked about spacing before. It gets a little bit uglier when Russell Westbrook is your point guard. Now, if Russ wants to come off the bench, do the 6th man of the year thing, not revitalize, but like move to that chapter of his career. I don't think you could have a better player than Russell Westbrook to give you that spark plug. You think D Rose did great things in New York and his time in Detroit coming off the bench. Imagine Russell Westbrook. That's that times 1,000 if he buys into that mentality. So I'm with you. I'm with you a lot more if Russ would want to be a 6th man, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that'd be amazing. But we also got to look at maybe some of the filler guys that come in. Like, let's think of role players real quick. Who is your ideal role player to come into this Lakers team that could maybe help us next season?
Oh, man. I mean, to be completely honest with you, man, I haven't even started to think about the little fish. And the reason why is you look at our stars and you look around the league, like it's going to take another big fish for this Lakers team to, still contend. I could sit here and I say, yes, LeBron and AD and just fill out the pieces around the sides, but it's going to take a B player or above for this for us as a fan base to feel like we are back in the driver's seat. Who was the Lakers' big acquisition this year? Dennis Schroeder. Where would you put him as far as role player, high level starter? I think obviously Dennis Schroeder proved to be just a role player this year for the Lakers, right? If we went and got somebody of his caliber, Max, what player is that? Would you be excited about it? Because you now have a year of age on our superstar. So I don't mean to duck the question about role players. I'm just, as my mentality usually is, if the head of the snake is chopped off, I don't give a damn what the rest of the body looks like. But you hit me, man. If you got some role players, let me know, and I'll bounce off of that.
Carmelo Anthony. If he came down here, tell me that would not be very interesting. He can stand there. He could just shoot the threes when LeBron kicks out to him. He's a consistent shooter. And then when the stars are on the bench and he wants to come in and play, he can get his own shot. I mean, we could maybe not revive his career because it's already like kind of revived, but we could like turn him more into the old Melo for a little bit when the stars are off the bench. And I think he'd be really interested in that. And that brings me to another thing. If we get Melo, Chris Paul is going to want to come. Let's be honest.
Yeah, man. You want to recreate the banana boat squad, LeBron and company, bro. The Laker Nation's already a interesting fan base as it is, because you have a lot of, and we welcome them with open arms. You have the LeBron disciples coming on over, and now we're trying to be one big happy family, right? If this organization literally just turns into 40% clutch clients, and then the rest are friends of LeBron. Folks, I get it. I think that would be an interesting next chapter of the Lakers, but I would definitely feel like, God damn it, this feels like the Expendables 4.
I wouldn't hate it.
You got Terry Crews and Melo. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Chris Paul, and I'm just looking around like, who are the? Where's Boobie Gibson? Yeah, since we're bringing, where's I'm thinking of the old. Where's Mario Chalmers? We might as well just bring them in too. Like, if that's what we doing with this Lakers team, I mean, it looks like Chris Paul adopted Campaign. Bring Campaign over. We're just going to do friends of old folks for the 2021-2022 Los Angeles Lakers and pray that's not going to be a retirement home. I'm just messing with you, Bags. I think the fan base would just not. I think half the fan base would not rock with the Melo Chris Paul transaction simply because they would feel like that's the LeBron takeover of the Los Angeles Lakers would be complete then.
Well, I mean, I thought it was complete as soon as he traded everybody on the roster for AD.
That's fair. Well, let me ask you. Since we're on the topic, what do you make of that trade now? Would you have still made that AD for the kids trade?
I think it really makes you think, but we did win a championship because of it. And I always think back to this moment that makes me realize, hey, we kind of won this. AD's not playing. Lakers versus Pelicans. LeBron's facing all the guys he traded and still kicks their ass. So I think it was 100% worth it. Do I think we might have given up a tad too much? Kind of, because they were getting Zion coming in for an injury, and we're taking an injury-prone player on. I think we could have maybe gotten away with taking one of those guys out, but I'm not too mad at it. I'm happy we got AD. I'm happy we won a championship, and I think that was one of the better Laker trades I think I've seen go down.
Yeah, agreed. I don't lose any sleep over what the Lakers gave up. And I'm a huge Julius Randle fan. I'm a big Brandon Ingram fan. I was cool with Lonzo. I think he came in with way too much hype. He's developing into a nice player. It'd be interesting to see if he can end up in Chicago with my hometown Bulls. But I mean, when you look at all those pieces together, Josh Hart, yes, you do it. Yes, you make that damn trade. What was the Pelicans' record, man? Weren't they like the second worst, the third worst team in the NBA?
Yeah, that was their worst season I think the Pelicans have ever had, and they've had a ton of bad seasons.
Like, what exactly am I supposed to do with that information? Once the Lakers signed LeBron James, it was bring me star number 2, and that came in Anthony Davis. And I'm sorry, the pieces going out, it's not like Julius Randle just led the Knicks to the second round. He struggled as well. Why would I not think that that would also happen their first go round in Lakers uniforms? And what would be the conversation? Are the Lakers getting bounced in the first round, wasting LeBron's years of his final years of his career? When versus you could just say the Lakers got their ring with LeBron and AD, and now we're retooling to try to figure out what's the right pieces to get the next one. You got to get the ring first to figure out afterwards. And the Lakers have a championship ring that is directly tied to the acquisition of Anthony Davis. So, yeah, I think that's almost a non-discussion. But, you know, the pipsqueaks on twitter.com are going to bring that up all day today. I already see it.
No, I didn't get any sleep because I was Twitter 24/7 last night. But, I mean.
No, bro, they had me in a pack. They tried smoking Ricky Pack last night. And all I told people online was, bro, I have no problem. You know, I talk a lot of stuff. Like I said, the Lakers propaganda network is what I like to call myself. And I know I say some things that's going to be wrong, and I expect to get called out on it. Everybody get their jokes off on me. Just know you're coming to hell with me. So make sure your jokes are good, because my jokes are going to be good, and we can go back and forth. Or you just, you know, keep it cute on the play yard. So, yeah, they definitely tried firing up my pack last night. And I just reminded a couple of them that they need girlfriends. So it's all good.
You ain't got to do them all like that.
No, not everybody. Not everybody. You come correct. You want to do a couple of jokes. Like, if you're the person that like there was a dude that said, hey, the Lakers are going to get swept first round. And they said that under one of my old tweets. And I was like, you crazy as hell, right? He came back and he was like, wow, I was off by 2 games, but that was a pretty good prediction. And I responded. I was like, you got it, man. Like, you're right. You're right. That was a good one. You're absolutely right on your guess. In my guess, you were correct about it. And you know, I keep it all cordial there. But the little, you know, the freckled kids wearing glasses hopping in my mentions talking like, yeah, Ricky, how do you feel now? Like, bro, I feel fine. Like, I'm a couple hours less of sleep responding to you idiots, but it is what it is. You know, at least I have still seen championships in my lifetime. I had a Utah Jazz fan, Max, trying to dance on the Lakers' grave. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? What championship are you aware of that has gone through Salt Lake City?
Oh, that kid's never even seen them make a conference finals.
I'm saying I was 8 the last time I saw the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals. Like, I'm 29. Let's not do this. If you've never seen your team in a conference finals, don't hop in Lakers fans' mentions, okay? Only people I think that could talk right now, and I'm so happy that the Celtics pack has also been lit, and their team is completely now under question marks and uncertainty. But the only teams that feel like they can talk right now are probably Brooklyn fans, because they know they have a good chance of making it to the finals. If they beat Milwaukee, I think Bucks fans, they're pretty cordial. But you know, after that, it's just like, hey, the rest of y'all have not seen your franchises succeed since you guys were, you know, thoughts in your child's and father's, your mother's and father's minds. Like, you just got to leave it what it is. Lakers are having a rough ending to their year. We feel it. The nation feels it. But just remember about throwing stones in a glass house, you know?
Are we Team Mavs now?
You know, Luke, my boy Kwame, who I do my show with, he's ready. He's been Team LeBron since he got into the league, followed him at every stop. He's going to stay with Lakers Nation after LeBron retires, but he is fully invested in Luka's legacy and being team Luka. So I'm here for the Clippers slander. So of course I'm Team Mavs tonight. I want them to finish it in 6. So now the Clippers got to also fly out to Cancun the next day and join the Los Angeles Lakers. And now they smoking each other's packs on the beach. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm rolling with the Mavs. I'm rolling with the Nets.
Ooh, that's where we're going to come against each other then.
All right, talk it out. So you got Mavs, right? Do you think they're going to take care of it?
I think they're going to beat the Clippers. No way do I think they're going to actually make the finals, but I just want the Clippers to get smoked because then they have to blow it up. Let's be honest. If we're losing and we have that and we want a championship with that, and they just continue to lose and they have Kawhi and Paul George, they need to blow it up. But Bucks are going to beat the Nets in 5. I guarantee it. That is a Chuck guarantee right there. This Bucks matchup is defense wins championships. I'm sure we've all heard that. Giannis on KD, Middleton on Harden. Harden's the only one that might have his way with that series, but Drew Holiday on Kyrie. I mean, this is an ideal situation for the Bucks, especially when you got Brook Lopez, who just came off in a great series shooting the 3. Bryn Forbes, who outscored Jimmy Butler last series. This Bobby Portis, who can come in and shoot 3, because you're gonna have 2 big men on Giannis. They're not gonna have somebody on Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and they're gonna start letting that 3 ball fly. So I think this Bucks team is gonna win in 5, and I guarantee that one. But I think they're actually gonna win the finals this year. That's just my opinion.
That'd be good. That's good for basketball, man. Like you look around the league, and obviously the NBA cannot wait to give Luka all his flowers if he makes a run to the conference finals. God forbid the NBA finals. Oh my God, the NBA, the Giannis versus Luka finals they'd be salivating all over that. But it would be great for the game if Giannis picked up a championship, especially in Milwaukee with deciding to sign that extension first year. That would be a reassuring thing, not only to him as far as his decision to stay, but Bucks fans too, because the Bucks probably only have 2 solid years of not winning championships before they start getting nervous again about what Giannis wants to do with his career. So I'm here for that as well. I was really banking on a Lakers-Bucks finals, so I can, Milwaukee's only about an hour and 10-minute drive from where I'm at, sneaking up to a finals game to see our boys in purple and gold, but apparently that just wasn't in the cards this year.
Well, the Suns just wanted to come in and ruin our little parade, I guess, but
we didn't even have a parade. That's the other thing, Max. We didn't even get to fully celebrate our championship last year.
Did you see LA?
No, I saw how LA got down, but they deserved a parade. Like the players deserved a parade. The hell, the banner didn't even go. The banner was revealed in front of 12 fans, pretty much. Like it just nothing hit the same. Like I remember, Kobe D-Fish walking out there saying a couple of words to the fans, then handing the mic off to Kobe to talk about what a great journey it's been and how they're excited to start the new one. We were robbed of those things. And this season kind of is it was supposed to be we got it now. We about to double up. We about to party 2 times as hard when the Lakers go back to back. And I think that's the piece that sucks. Because you also got to think, Max, there's only 2 players that for sure is going to be in a Lakers uniform next year. LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I don't know if Kuz going to be here. I don't know if Caruso's going to be here. Hell, I don't even know if THT is going to be here next year, honestly, if the package is right. So you got to think who's really around to appreciate that championship for the Lakers. And the names are the list going to get shorter and shorter till it's just down to those 2 superstars. And now that championship, starts moving into the rearview mirror, and you start thinking, dang, the celebration for that year really – obviously within the confines of a damn pandemic, it just really didn't hit like it should have. And I think that's the most unfortunate part about this year.
Well, I'm going to say this because there have been rumors that there's another player that they want to keep for their future, which I'm heavily against. They want Andre Drummond back. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I actually tweeted it out after I think the first game, I think it was game 3 where LeBron, Drummond, and AD looked good together. It's because AD had a dominant night. I tweeted out, hey, so are we all agreed that we want Drummond back next year? And Lakers fans are like, oh, yeah, let's do it. We're in. Let's go. And I falsely was sipping the tea a little prematurely. Hell no, I don't want him back. Absolutely not. Bringing Andre Drummond in was another sign that this shit was going to get weird real quick. The lineup with Gasol and Anthony Davis in, that was the Lakers starting unit to start the season. We were on a roll before the injury started. Max, we didn't go back to that lineup ever again until the playoffs. Like, what sense did that make? We saw the plus minus on that lineup. Best one by far. And then what happens? Hey, my buddy Andre wants to be a Laker, if you guys don't mind. He does want to be a starter. If you could just move him into the starting lineup, that'd be great. And that what do the Lakers do? Sir, yes, sir, Mr. Davis. Anything else you need? And what happens? AD gets hurt. Andre Drummond looks like he can't make a layup to save his life. Everybody that said, hey, Andre Drummond gets so many rebounds, it's because he gets his own misses, was absolutely right. His lack of post moves besides that running hook shot, everybody was right there. I'm off him. I'm off Andre Drummond. I do not want to see him in a Lakers uniform again unless he's playing for the minimum.
Well,
I don't even want him on the team. I don't want him on the team, man.
Well, unfortunately, there's rumors that they're going to offer him a 4-year contract.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. They wouldn't do this if they didn't. They didn't massage his ego all season for it to end bad. For them to just be like, we did all that stuff. Now we're just gonna walk away from it. Hell, you might as well see the story out.
I'm fine with ending the story. I think that'd be great too. Nobody wants to see the big penguin back. How bad do you have to be that big, that strong, and yet you struggle to make a layup if Campazzo's on you or something? Like, it's really frustrating watching Andre Drummond play. He has no coordination. He's just a glorified Kwame Brown.
Ooh, whoa!
No, he's a glorified Kwame.
Drummond's hands on defense were surprisingly better than I thought. But yeah, everything else was a disappointment. Hey, you trust me. Kwame Brown be on YouTube. I know you post these these interviews on YouTube. I don't want no smoke with Kwame, so I'm just back from that one. But no, Drums, he's been I don't know, man. I think of guys like Chris Mim and him missing easy shots. I think of guys, that like Lakers bigs that I just did not have any confidence in once they got the ball trying to score, like DJ Benga. Like guys like that, that's where I got to a point with Drummond trying to get ISO post touches. I had to censor myself from even talking about dude, because as a glorified small big man myself, I had to learn post moves all the time. And to see that he is that big and only knows one post move, it's just like pretty amazing to watch. So me and you are on the same page. I think Laker Nation is on the same page. We're kind of off Andre Drummond being back, but honestly, it only matters what Anthony Davis, Rob Pelinka, and LeBron James want. And if they brought him here to be a cheap starting five next year and they wanted to punt the chemistry of that Gasol 5 starting lineup this year for it, I can only assume they're going to see that story through.
I doubt Gasol's going to want to come back after what we did to him too, especially I wasn't exactly like crazy about Marc Gasol, but I thought he was doing maybe a solid job. Now, granted, I loved our bigs from last year. JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard were my favorite pair of bigs I think I've ever seen on a team. They just played so well. They wouldn't mind if you didn't play them an entire game here or there. You saw what they did for the Houston series. They didn't even play, and they were on the bench cheering everybody on, having a good time. Those are my favorite bigs I think I've ever seen play. Marc Gasol, he came in. He's an older guy, but he was still giving his heart. And then for when we're still not doing terribly too bad, to boot him out of the lineup and give him garbage minutes for Andre Drummond, he's not coming back after that. That was very disrespectful in my opinion.
Yeah, no, we all saw it, and my thing is I try to always be cognizant of what's the main goal, and that main goal was they're doing this to groom Andre Drummond for next year. And Mark, unfortunately, was the sacrifice. And, we just got done talking about why that was such an unfortunate decision on the Lakers' part, and honestly on Anthony Davis's part, to try to, we're going to compete this year and, get our books in order, get our stuff in order so Drum feels comfortable so he can be on the Lakers next season. So, sorry, Mark. I really am disappointed in how the rest of the year turned out. I think especially he is the number one person I thought just from a story standpoint. Powell went and got a ring. Mark was traded for Powell. Now Powell's on the Lakers. Time for him to get a ring, so we could say both Gasol brothers got a ring with the Lakers. Bro, you remember at the beginning of the year, they were saying, hey, maybe the Lakers should kick the tires on Powell Gasol. Like, and now they can both Gasol brothers can get a championship in the Lakers uniform. And it's just like, nah, the way that this turned out, that Powell's relationship with the Lakers would be even more weird than it was when he first left.
Yeah, no, this Lakers team, it's going to be a very interesting offseason, I think, to say the least.
Yep. Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to the offseason, actually. If we could just, talk a little bit about like a positive, the Lakers are about to have plenty of time to rest, plenty of time to mentally reset their minds. LeBron's about to go on to Space Jam 2. Press tour dropping in June or whenever it's dropping next couple of months. Anthony Davis can go back to eating LA tacos and getting high as a kite and rehabbing his body. But I think the work that's about to go down in this offseason is I think it's worth being excited for, just because the Lakers got bounced in the fashion that they did. You can't sit still after something like this. Absolutely not. The fan base is agitated. We just we're talking going on 40 minutes now about all negative crap. What you think what's going on in El Segundo right now with them going to work this morning? Yeah, they wiping the whiteboard and they getting to work.
Yeah, let's end this on a good note for the Lakers. We have tons of time. We have a ton of decisions to make this offseason. We have a ton of potential opportunities to bring some heavy talents into this organization. And we have some guys that look like they needed that fire lit under their ass to get hungry, to want to win now, especially now that they know the feeling of getting booted out the first round, and they know that they can't just rely on AD and LeBron to carry this team. I think we're going to see major improvements from THT. If he's not traded, I actually believe Alex Caruso is going to be a lot better next season than he was this year. And I think we're definitely going to bring in another point guard. And I think that's going to be the most exciting part of this offseason, to see who we can bring in that can be an upgrade over Schroeder, because we need an upgrade over him, because Dennis Schroeder, nope, we're not getting toxic right now. We're being positive. So we're definitely going to bring some big pieces in. I hope that we re-sign Alex Caruso. I hope he stays. I hope we can get a couple guys back. I hope maybe Trez accepts it. I love Trez. He's a great energy guy, and I think he should be put into the game plan a little bit differently, but I think we can make it work and make him a really big. I think he should be the sixth man of this team. I think that'd be a really big plus for him. I think this Laker team, we're definitely going to be back, and we're going to be back in a big way next year.
I do too, man. I think, we talked about big names for the Lakers as possible attractions. I don't think we should run from that. I think the Lakers absolutely have pieces. There are absolutely stars out in the league that are not going to want to stay in their situations. I think trade demands will happen this summer, and there's no better spot to be than in purple and gold competing for a championship. So I am looking forward so much to enjoying the rest of this playoffs, right? I think that's also something that we get to do. These playoffs have been really, really good, and I can't wait for that Bucks Nets series next round, and just seeing how the rest of the West shakes out. Hell, I'm here to see Luka finish off the Clippers right in 6, and his story get another chapter to it. But when we get to the off season, I think that the Lakers are going to get right back on the saddle and give us the energy that we need heading into next season.
I definitely agree with all that, but unfortunately, that's going to have to wrap it up for now. I really want to thank you. Thanks for coming on, Ricky, and make sure you guys tune into the Late Night Lake Show. But really, man, thank you for tuning in, coming on the podcast. It means the world to me.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for the AM conversation, kind of unpacking our thoughts, our feelings. So anytime, bro.